They say that dogs are man's best friend. But nobody tells you what happens when a man leaves. It never comes back. Waiting is a painful thing. It is not just passing time. It is an act of hurt. It is looking at a corner and hoping to see a familiar face, but seeing only empty space. For Barnaby, the golden retriever, waiting was his job. He did not know he had been abandoned. He thought this was a test. A very long, very cold test. He sat by the rusted sign of the bus stop. The wind was biting his nose. The snow was turning his golden fur into a white mask. Most people drove past him. To them, he was just part of the landscape, like a broken fence or a trash can. They didn't see the heart beating under the dirty fur. They didn't see the loyalty that was slowly freezing to death. My grandmother used to say, "The coldest place in the world is not the North Pole. The coldest place is a crowded room where nobody sees you." Barnaby was invisible, but he wasn't the only one. Across the street, in a warm house with blue curtains, a boy named Leo was watching through the window. Leo was 10 years old. He had expensive toys. He had a big house, but he had the same look in his eyes as the dog, the look of someone waiting to be found. You see, loneliness has a smell, and loneliness recognizes loneliness. Leo saw the dog every day. He wanted to open the door. He wanted to run across the street. But fear is a heavy chain. Every morning at 7 a.m., the big yellow bus arrived. The brakes screeched like a monster. The doors opened. Barnaby would stand up. His tail would wag just once. Maybe he was on this bus. Maybe his old owner was coming back. Children poured out of the bus. They were loud. They were colorful. "Look at that dirty dog," one kid shouted. "Don't touch it. It probably has fleas," another laughed. Barnaby lowered his head. He wasn't looking for food. He was looking for kindness. Leo was always the last one off the bus. He walked with his head down, clutching his backpack like a shield. The other boys pushed him. Leo stumbled into the snow. Barnaby saw this. He let out a low whine. Not a growl. A whine of empathy. Two broken souls, separated by 10 feet of asphalt and a world of indifference. Then came Tuesday. The weatherman on the TV said it would be the storm of the decade. The sky didn't look like sky anymore. It looked like a bruise, purple and black. The temperature dropped fast. The puddles turned to ice in minutes. Barnaby felt it in his bones. His old injury, from when he was thrown from car, started to throb. He tried to curl into a ball under the bus stop bench, but the metal was freezing. Inside the house, Leo's mother was frantic. "Leo, get your coat. We have to go to Grandma's before the roads close." Leo looked out the window. The snow was falling horizontally now. It was aggressive. "Mom, what about the dog?" Leo asked. His voice was small. "What dog?" she replied, packing a bag. "The one at the bus stop. He will die out there. Leo, he's a stray. Stray dogs know how to hide. We have to go. Now." Leo stood by the front door. His hand was on the cold brass handle. He was a good boy. He always followed the rules. Rule number 1, do not talk to strangers. Rule number 2, do not bring animals inside. He imagined Barnaby. He imagined the snow burying him layer by layer until he was just a white mound. "Leo," his father honked the horn from the driveway. The pressure was building in his chest. It felt like he couldn't breathe. If he got in the car, he would be safe. He would be warm. He would have hot cocoa. But he would never forget. Some choices define us forever. Not the big choices like what job to take, but the small choices, the quiet ones. Leo opened the door, but he didn't walk to the car. He looked at his parents waiting in the driveway. He looked at the bus stop across the street. The dog was not moving. Leo ran. He didn't run to the car. He ran across the street. "Leo, what are you doing?" his dad screamed against the wind. Leo slipped on the ice, scraping his knees, but he got up. He reached the bus stop. Barnaby was shivering so violently that his teeth were clicking. He looked up at the boy. His eyes were cloudy with hypothermia. He didn't have the energy to wag his tail. Leo took off his scarf. It was bright red, knitted by his grandma. He wrapped it around the dog's neck. "I'm here," Leo whispered. "I see you." The contact was electric. Barnaby felt a warmth that wasn't just wool. It was presence. Leo's parents were running towards them now, angry and scared. But Leo wrapped his arms around the wet, smelly dog and held on tight. "I'm not leaving him," Leo shouted. It was the loudest he had ever spoken in his life. His parents saw the desperation in Leo's eyes. They couldn't put a dirty stray dog in their clean car, but they couldn't leave their son in the storm. "The garage," his father grunted. "He can stay in the garage, just for tonight, until the storm passes." It wasn't the living room, but it was heaven for Barnaby. They walked into the garage. It smelled of oil and old boxes, but it was dry. Leo made a bed out of old towels. He sat on the concrete floor next to Barnaby. The storm howled outside, banging against the metal door like a wolf tried to get in. Inside, it was quiet. Leo opened a can of soup he had sneaked from the kitchen. He poured it into a plastic bowl. Barnaby ate slowly. He was dignified, even when starving. For the first time in months, Barnaby stopped shaking. Leo told the dog everything. He talked about the bullies at school. He talked about feeling small. He talked about how much he hated the yellow bus. Barnaby listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He just rested his heavy head on Leo's knee. That night, a bond was formed. It wasn't just a boy and a pet. It was two survivors forming an alliance. Leo fell asleep on the towels, his hand buried in Barnaby's fur. Barnaby stayed awake. He watched the door. He was guarding the boy. For the first time, Barnaby had a purpose again. He wasn't waiting anymore. He had arrived. But happiness is fragile. The next morning, the storm cleared. The sun came out, blinding and bright on the white snow. The garage door opened. Leo's father stood there. He was wearing his work suit. "All right, Leo. Storm's over. Time to let him go." Leo's heart stopped. "What?" "We made a deal. Just for the night. Animals control looked for him. Nobody claimed him. We have to call the shelter." "No," Leo cried. "He's my friend." "Leo, be realistic. We travel too much. We don't have time for a dog. Especially not this kind of dog." The van from the animal shelter arrived an hour later. It wasn't a yellow bus this time. It was a white van with cages in the back. The man from the shelter was nice, but he smelled like bleach. Barnaby knew that smell. It was the smell of places where dogs go and don't come back. Leo held Barnaby's collar. His knuckles were white. "Please, Dad," Leo begged. "I'll take care of him. I'll use my allowance to buy food. I'll walk him." "It's too much responsibility, Leo. You're just a kid." The man from the shelter approached with a leash. "Come on, buddy. Let's go." Barnaby didn't growl. He just looked at Leo. That look broke Leo into a million pieces. It was the look of betrayal. "I trusted you, and you are letting them take me." The man put the leash on Barnaby. He led him towards the van. Barnaby dragged his feet. He looked back over his shoulder. Once. Twice. The van drove away. Leo stood in the driveway until the white dot disappeared. He went to his room. He closed the curtains. His dad came in later. "Leo, don't be like that. It's for the best. That dog was old. He probably was sick." Leo turned around. His face wasn't sad anymore. It was hard. "He wasn't sick," Leo said. "He was lonely. Like me." His father stopped. Silence filled the room. "You buy me toys, Dad. You buy me video games. But you never ask who I sit with at lunch. You never ask why I hate the bus." Leo pointed to the window. "That dog was the only thing that made me feel seen. And you sent him away." The truth hung in the air. It was heavier than the storm. Leo's father looked at his son. Really looked at him. He saw the pain he had been ignoring with work and trips. He realized that his son was drowning, and he had just sent away the life raft. Leo's dad didn't say a word. He walked out of the room. Leo heard footsteps on the stairs. Then, the jingling sound. Keys. His dad appeared at the doorway again. He had his coat on. "Get your shoes, Leo." "Why?" "Because we're going to get your friend back." The drive to the shelter was fast. Leo's heart was racing faster than the engine. When they got there, Barnaby was in a cage at the back. He was lying facing the wall. He had given up. "Barnaby," Leo called. The dog's ears twitched. He turned around. When he saw Leo, he didn't just wag his tail. He howled, a sound of pure joy. Leo opened the cage. Barnaby tackled him with sloppy kisses. Leo's dad watched them. He wiped a tear from his eye before Leo could see. He signed the papers. Adoption fee, paid in full. The next morning, the yellow bus arrived at 7 a.m. The brakes screeched. The doors opened, but the bus stop was empty. There was no dog shivering in the snow. The camera moves across the street, into the house with the blue curtains. There's a fire crackling in the fireplace. On the rug, Barnaby is sleeping deeply, chasing rabbits in his dreams. And sitting next to him, waiting for the bus but no longer afraid of it, is Leo. Leo puts on his backpack. He pats Barnaby on the head. "I'll be back," Leo says. "I promise." And for the first time, Barnaby believes him, because he knows he is not waiting anymore. He is home.